Dune Prophecy, The Hidden Hands review. I liked it. It was enjoyable. I grew up watching the 1984 David Lynch Dune movie that had a lot of designs from H.R. Geiger, the guy who created the xenomorph from Alien. And I really like the way they interpreted Frank Herbert's book in the 1984 movie. Now, the sci-fi miniseries and the recent Dune Part 1 and Part 2 and this Dune Prophecy, I feel like are kind of different from the H.R. Geiger, David Lynch movie, right? They're like kind of more modern, and I feel like they're not as detailed. Like, they don't get the little details in the costumes and the sets that we see in the book. Because in the book, a lot of the furniture is genetically made and like alive. They're like pets in the book. And you see some of that weird stuff in Dune Part 2, like with the Harkonnens and their home world, but this is different. This is a story about the Bene Gesserit, okay? And it turns out that I guess the queen of the Bene Gesserits turns out to also be a Harkonnen, like in the Paul Atreides story, right? Atreides' mother is a Harkonnen. Well, in this story, the queen of the Bene Gesserits is a Harkonnen, from what I understand. And we do see flashbacks to the war against the thinking machines, which is something I've always wanted to see. And the way they showed the thinking machines was so cool. Now, what I like about this story is this story doesn't revolve around the Atreides like the original Dune. This story revolves around the villain of that Dune story, the Emperor, right? The family of the Emperor, the Corrinos, right? So we get to see the planet of the Emperor. This story revolves around the Corrinos, right? Who are the emperors in the time of the Atreides, right? So we don't really... This is something we've never seen on screen, is the family of the Corrinos. And I'm intrigued with the story because it turns out that the little boy, the Corrino, who they're trying to marry into this royal marriage, is assassinated. And meanwhile, the older bride, who they're trying to marry this little boy with, is cheating on him, taking spice, going to these spice clubs. But one thing I would have done if I were filming the show is, the girl's very attractive, the girl who plays the Bene Gesserit wife of this kid. And when she's going to the club and stuff, I would have shown her naked. And they don't do that. I would say that this is it's rated M, but this show is like a PG-13 show. And there should be nudity, you know, because there's some beautiful women on the show that I would show nude. Now, apart from that, I thought it was cool that we're getting to see the story of the Bene Gesserit. Okay, so that's cool, and it made me go and rewind stuff, because the little kid who gets assassinated, he has like this pet robot, like this pet little AI lizard. And also it went back, and that actor from Vikings, from Warcraft, from Raised by Wolves, that actor who was talking to the kid when he gets burnt up, when he gets assassinated, that actor, I guess his name is Travis Fimmel, he really reminds me of the Duncan Idaho character from the main Dune books. So I started going back and rewinding, what does he have to do with Arrakis? Because the Corrino father kept looking at like a hologram of him trying to communicate with a worm, you know, and I'm trying to see who is Travis Fimmel's character. very mysterious. So we're gonna unravel this mystery. I'm intrigued, okay? And this is where I come from. I read the first Dune book, right? I'm in the middle of reading Dune Messiah, and I'm a fan of the sci-fi miniseries, right? The Children of Dune, and before that they had remade Dune into a sci-fi miniseries. And really, I'm also a big fan of the David Lynch 1984 Dune, which is, to me, the best, the David Lynch Dune. But I'm also a fan of the books, of specifically the first Dune book. I'm a fan of that, and I have to read Children of Dune. I'm in the middle of reading Dune Messiah, and that's my experience with Dune. But I'm going to be reviewing the show, and like I said, my biggest thing is, where are the guild navigators, right? I want to see some guild navigators. I want to see the spacing guild, because that's something we didn't see in Dune Part 1 and Part 2. They left out the guild navigators, alright? And so I want to see, more of that. And I'm intrigued.